The $153 million man does it again. Michael Conley. How about them Grizzlies? It's so fun seeing Golden State Warriors fanboys react to losses, man. I mean, that's when you know you're a spoiled fan, man. This is just their sixth loss of the season, right? Granted, they blew a big lead, all right? But it's just the sixth loss of the season. And they're like whining and crying and complaining and whatnot, man. I remember, I'm not going to be too hard on the Warriors because teams do blow leads. I remember the Bulls back when, when we was doing our thing. I can't remember what season it was. I think it was the 96-97 season. I think it was that year. We were playing against the Dallas Mavericks, and this is when Dallas was horrible. This is before Dirk Nowitzki got there. They were horrible, man. I think it was one year they might have won like 15 games. And we were playing, that's the year we won 69 games. And Jordan and Pippen were on the bench, icing their knees and whatnot. And we had like an 18-point lead. The second unit was in. And the Mavericks, well, I think they had like Dennis Scott, and Cedric Ceballos. And, I don't know whether George McCloud was still there. But the guys just, all of a sudden, they just got hot, the whole team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was hitting threes, it was hitting and ones, we couldn't score. All of a sudden, Jordan Pippen came back in the game and shit. And I think we lost the game in like overtime or something like that. But it just kind of reminded me of that game. Shit like this happened, man. But there are some things that should concern Golden State Warriors fans. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the San Antonio Spurs, the Houston Rockets, and the Memphis Grizzlies, the Warriors are 0-5 this year. So, even though they're 31-6, and I think they have the best record in the NBA percentage-wise, they haven't beaten any of the elite teams. There's just so few of the elite teams, but they're losing to them. As opposed to last year, at this time they were probably like 29-2, but they were beating everybody. Remember, they were beating the hell out of Cleveland. In fact, it was almost a year ago now. What was it, January 17th, 18th, where they blew out the Cleveland Cavaliers. So there's some things. Toward the end of the game, you started, that last possession before overtime, you saw Kevin Durant revert back to OKC Kevin Durant with the isolation. And Kevin Durant, I'm going to say this, man. As great a scorer he is, as great as a scorer he is, he disappears sometimes, a lot of times actually, when it comes to critical possessions. He disappears. I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. Like, this team still has problems. They look good against mediocre teams. They look great, but they're not the same team that they were last year. They're not. They gave up a lot to get him, and I think that certain things are going to catch up with this team eventually. I think that, I don't know. I think they're the best offensive team in the league, but when it comes to them playing against the elite teams, I'll say it before and I'll say it again, their lack of depth and their subpar rebounding hurts them. And it hurts them against teams like Cleveland and against the Spurs. And apparently he's hurting them against teams like the Grizzlies and the Rockets. So maybe, like this inevitability with the Warriors, maybe it's a little bit overstated. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still the favorite, but maybe there's a little bit of competition in the Western Conference, man. Who knows?